I decided to do my presentation on Ruth Asawa. Ruth was a Japanese American, and she was born January 24th, 1926, in California to Umakichi and Haru Aisawa. And the picture on the top, on the left, that is her mother, and on the right, that is her father. And then on the bottom picture, the person on the top right is Ruth when she was younger. Ruth's father was sent to a Japanese internment camp early on, and the rest of her family later on was sent to a different Japanese internment camp in 1942. And while she's at this camp, a lot of the Disney animators actually were Japanese Americans. So a lot of artists were sent to these camps, and she really grew her love of art while she was there, and her skills, of course. And after she gets out, she's in for about 16 months, I believe. She studies to become an art teacher at Milwaukee State Teachers College, but is denied because there's still a lot of hostility against Japanese people in the United States. After that, in 1946, Ruth goes to Black Mountain College and begins studying art. And although she did not graduate from Black Mountain College, she feels this really just shaped her as an artist and profoundly influenced her, the people that she met there. And she also meets her future husband while she's in college. And here's just some of her works from when she's at Black Mountain College. While she's at Black Mountain College in 1947, she travels to Mexico and learns from the locals how to weave these wire baskets, and this weaving technique actually becomes her primary technique for creating sculptures out of wire. In 1954, Ruth begins showing her work in solo and group exhibitions, and she is very known for her interlooping wire sculptures. And this, I believe, is her first solo exhibition. Again, she's known for these very intricate wire sculptures, but she also made different kinds of art. These tied wire sculptures are inspired by a desert plant from Death Valley that her friend brought her. These, in the mid-50s, she began making sculptures out of copper wire and then using a chemical to oxidize them so it would create this bumpy green skin on them. And she didn't do this exclusively to one type of sculpture. She did this to all types of sculptures out of copper. And again, here are some of her works on paper. She also did paintings. I forgot to include any on this slide. But yeah, you can see on the photo on the left, even in drawing, she enjoys making these interlooping patterns. In 1982, Ruth begins to build up a public high school for the arts in San Francisco. And in 2010, it's actually renamed to the Ruth Asawa San Francisco School of the Arts. And you can see in these photos her teaching and helping kids create art. She was very passionate about helping young people realize their potential and create art. She did many public commissions over her time, such as water fountains and stuff like that. And you can actually find a lot of these still in San Francisco. Her art's just all over the city. I think that's really cool. And her final public commission was called the Garden of Remembrance, or is called the Garden of Remembrance. And it's meant to honor those who were put into Japanese internment camps, and she uses actual boulders from these camps. And near the end of her life, her husband dies at age 81 in 2008, and then later on she dies at age 87 in 2013. And students from the Ruth Asawa School of Arts perform at her memorial. And I actually didn't talk about this art piece, but I wanted to mention it. It's a pretty famous one of hers. On the bottom left, that's called the Faces of Ruth Asawa. And she just casted all these different faces in a bunch of different colors. And that's just a very popular piece of hers. And here's my annotated bibliography.